of the 3,200-meter runs. And in the field, at least as far as the seed time, the only competitor under 10 minutes is Robert Pierce. Pierce is out of Kingman, and in the field alongside with him is a teammate, Tegan Flanagan, also from Kingman. They are both sophomores. And then Hugoton's got a pair of a sophomore and a junior Hugotons. Abraham Garcia, Ethan Fox is a sophomore. Out of West Franklin comes William Dallin Bailey, Keegan Cox out of Sabetha, Pleasant Ridge's Clayton Price, and then there's Travis Guyer out of Council Grove, Matthew Oglesby out of Galena, and then Riley County's Brett Culp. Riverton's Joshua Rutledge, Heston's Hunter Hedden, Wathena Riverside's Matthew Klein, Dane Yacht is out of Hoisington, Arma Northeast competitor Jasper Hatchison, and then rounding out the field is Norton Community's Connor Hall. So that's your field of 16. And it's out, you always look for the freshmen, but this field has just a ton of sophomores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Half the field are sophomores. And what that means, Leon, is not only are they going to see each other this race, but about 2 more after that. They're junior and senior years. So they're going to establish kind of their ownership of this 3,200-meter run race, chance to do that right now.
Again, we've seen Class 1A, 2A, and 3A boys and girls this morning in the 3,200, and we've seen a lot of underclassmen in both boys and girls. And winners in that division.
Class 3A, as far as history is concerned, running a 9:08.68. Did it in 2007. Lane Boyer of Fredonia back in 2007. What a time that was. And so that's the time to shoot for. Again, the seed time, the top seed time, when you think about that 9:07, is Robert Pierce. He was the only one to go under 10 minutes, and that's actually 43 seconds as far as the seed time behind the leader here. But again, regionals, hard to make much of it, other than the fact that, you want to get into the state finals, and qualifying is what it's all about. And Robert Pierce leads the way. He's the best time here as we get into the second lap here. When the leader crosses the finish line here, there'll be 6 laps to go here.
Mark, we talked about this is the ultimate goal for these track and field athletes across the state of Kansas, but you mentioned the regionals and getting that time to qualify. Sometimes watching those regional events is almost more exciting because if they get that chance to actually to win and go to Wichita and go to Cessna Stadium, that's always fun to watch.
Yeah, well, it's always a great thing for a coach to point out, Leon, that, hey, this is what you do to get yourself in position to go to Wichita.
And it's especially fun to watch maybe a young athlete that's maybe not expecting to qualify for state, and they turn in that great time at the regional.
Yeah, one thing I haven't talked about, let me reset the field here before we talk history a little bit. In the lead, 26:43, that is Robert Pierce out of Kingman. And I can't see the young man chasing behind him. His bid number, it's 3187, 3197.
It's Joshua Rutledge from Riverton.
Joshua, he's down the way here. Joshua Rutledge actually turned in the 10th best seed time. So we got a couple of sophomores up in front, Robert Pierce. And the way the heat sheet is set up, it just happens that the top 9 names are on one page and the other 7 are on the second. So you'll have to beg my pardon if I pause in between one and the other. And first and second are on separate pages at the moment. 36:49, 25:17.
William Bailey in third from West Franklin.
I saw Abraham Garcia there for a moment from Hugoton.
Hugoton Eagles from out in far southwest Kansas.
You pride yourself in knowing those nicknames. Is there a nickname you don't
know? Oh, yeah, there's tons, especially the new consolidated schools.
Oh, yeah, those are new to everybody.
Also, Hugoton, I've always been amazed. It's named after Victor Hugo.
I did not know that.
And I have no idea why.
Huh. Well, you got to be named after somebody.
So there you go, the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
3,200-meter run, Class 3A. This is boys. They are going girls, boys, girls, boys. So we've already seen 3 races on the girls' side, 2 races on the boys' side. This is the 3rd race on the boys' side. This is the 6th event on Friday, preliminary day. And if you haven't seen enough of the 3,200-meter run yet, I'm going to tell you, we're going to bring you every 3,200-meter run. And after this one, Leon, there are 6 more to go. Do you feel like going and running yourself down there at all yet?
You know, it does give you kind of that encouragement that you can do it, but I know I can't. Not like this.
Well, I'm really impressed with the athleticism so far that we've seen. And so far the races, with one exception, have been pretty much determined. It's kind of been a solo finish, which is typical at 3,200 meters.
It looks like Robert Pierce stretching his advantage here. And man from Kingman, also the Eagles, I believe.
Well, I told you I'd talk about all-time best. You know, the best time in this event was set in 1979.
Wow.
That's back in the day. I won't say whose day. But Brent Steiner from Shawnee Mission South ran an 8:43.59. Is that right? Can that be right? Man, what a time. Then Randy Smith from 1971 ran an 8:54.4. He's out of Wichita East High School.
I remember Randy Smith. Tremendous athlete.
I'm going to make sure I have that time correct. I want to make sure I'm reading out the right column here. I don't want to be on television telling people, yeah, 3,200 meters.
What was the all-time best?
It was Brent Steiner. But among names you may recognize in the top 10, Jim Ryan. This guy named Jim Ryan back in 1965 ran a 9.6.
He had a pretty good year in 65 here at Cessna Stadium.
5, 6, and that is the 7th best all time. I presume Jim Ryan ran on gravel. You know, he ran on what was that Tartan surface? That before Tartan there was that kind of that I can just feel it.
Yeah, it's I can't remember.
People at home are screaming at me. They know exactly what I'm looking for. But among the top 10, the most recent time in the top 10 is Dylan Hodgson of Washington County in 2015. And then Yona Hang from Shawnee Mission West, he's at number 10 in 2012. Always fun to kind of recap history. And a lot of those times, though, very dependent on the weather.
Those youngsters out there, Jim Ryan, by the way, the first high schooler to ever break the 4-minute mile. He didn't do it here. He did it out in California in an event with professional and Olympic-type runners.
And
he didn't win either.
Right.
But it was he was going up against some of the best in the world, but broke the 4-minute mile. But then he also broke the 4-minute here at the state track and field meet, which was also a new national high school record in 1965.
And I think lucky for all of us that the news folks were smart enough to get cameras there.
Oh, there's some great pictures of him finishing.
Robert Pierce here from Kingman in the boys 3,200 meter in Class 3A.
Kansas has a great tradition of long-distance runners. We talked about Wes Santee, who was believed to be one of the top candidates to be the first runner to ever break the 4-minute mile back in the 1950s. Glenn Cunningham from Elkhart, one of the great milers, world record holder. All those guys went to the University of Kansas.
I just remember interviewing Jim Ryan one time, and he used to talk about he used to jog to Augusta. As a workout. I mean, for folks who aren't from the Wichita area, Augusta is 9 miles to the east. And can you imagine being just getting up and running to Augusta? Let's just do that this morning to see how that works out. So the lead for Robert Pierce here, the sophomore at Kingman, it was at 50 meters, and then I checked it at about 100 meters. Man, his stride, he is just strong. He is just the class of the field here. There's a reason he's wearing bib number 1.
Taking a look back, see where everybody's at.
Got that blonde hair going, great look. He's got, should be bell lap coming for Robert Pierce, who, look at that camera shot. There's no air, there's second place. Silver medal just entered at the moment, and there's 1 lap to go. You see the official hold up the 1 finger. That means 1 lap to go. You hear the bell, and the boys' 3,200 meter run with Robert Pierce way in the lead goes into its bell lap. We'll try to get a look at the bib numbers for second and third, but there's Robert Pierce out of Kingman's in the lead. I think he's well ahead of his seed time, and looks like he's got plenty of distance here.
And it looks like he's picked up the pace a little bit on this last lap, but not too noticeably. Not like what we saw when Kyler True, I think, who knew he was going for a record, really started picking it up. But yeah, he's stretching it out now as he comes into the final turn.
Yeah, he's about to lap a competitor, and the distance here, it's over 110 meters, is that lead for Robert Pierce. Pierce, class of the field, Class 3A boys, laps his first competitor, and he's going to lap could lap another one as he heads toward the finish line here at Wichita State. Here's Pierce. 80 meters to go.
Wow, what an impressive. He's just way out in front of everybody.
He may need to run another 3,200 meters. He's got so much left. Toward the finish line, boys 3A 3,200 meter champ is Robert Pierce. Congratulations, Robert Pierce out of Kingman. You're a state champ.
We got a pretty good battle going for second place here, Mark, as the coming down the stretch.
Silver medal at the finish.
Well, that was a nice effort there by, I believe,
It's like
William
William
Bailey.
Dalen Bailey out of West.